I think more than any other branch of government, the judiciary has said, no, not here.
Yeah, the judiciary is holding the line. I mean, 22 years ago, I was at Ground Zero when Rudy Giuliani was America's mayor. He was a role model. He was a hero. And to watch the disgusting transformation, the fall from grace, and just the meanness, the nastiness, where now he's the opposite of a role model for our children, has been stunning. It's been bad for America. It's bad for our discourse. It's bad for our children. But I think this may be the year of accountability. We may be entering an age of accountability where the rule of law still exists in America, and we can show our children and show the world that America is a place where you will be held accountable, whether you're Fox News, you're Rudy Giuliani, or you're the former president of the United States. And I think it's going to be rough. It's going to be messy. We're fighting through this terrible period, but we can finally start to see some light where our structures and our institutions and our values are holding.
You see light?
I do. I do. I think you have to, because if you don't, what have we got left? Like we had, our military held at times, our Capitol Hill police held at times, our judicial system's holding at times, and that's got to be the rebar right now for this setting concrete that's the next phase of America.
He's trying to look like Churchill. He is making, no, seriously, I mean, that's what, he is making a Churchill face, which means, A, he knows who Churchill is, and also somehow he thinks...
doesn't know who Churchill is. Somebody told him. Just stop right here. He does not... I bet my last ever bite at a Krispy Kreme donut that he has had. He came to the table with no... Take that down. Take that down. I don't need to see that anymore. He has no idea who Churchill is. I believe what Vaughn has reported, and I'm sure it's what Maggie's reported, that he's leaning into this moment. Because he's been indicted 4 places. He has to.
He has to.
There's no other play.
Yeah, I think that's the strategy. But also, with regard to Christie and everything else, it's football season now. This is a race for QB2. Like, quarterback one has been established. We know who the quarterback's going to be. They're all fighting to be Tom Brady's backup right now. And Christie's play, as we've talked about before, has been to be the attack dog, to try to be the savior of the GOP, to be the one guy who will throw punches at Trump repeatedly. And he's making a play that independents can vote in the open primaries in New Hampshire and turn the tables in his favor. But it's a bad bet. Independents aren't excited about voting in the GOP primary for Christie, but that's his strategy right now. And I think it's going to fail. It's a good strategy for a general election, but he's not running in a general election. He's running in a radical GOP primary.
He's also a Bridgegate guy. I mean,
who made it?
Yeah, I mean, Christie is famous for Bridgegate. I mean, where he shut down the bridge, it was a huge scandal. I'm not sure that person can make a case on honesty.
I mean, the president, let's just say it, the firewall. I mean, the fact that we're talking about what will happen in Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, I don't look at Florida anymore, but right, we're talking about these states where the independents make up an important, perhaps determinative vote. But there are also places where Democrats have done years and years, in some cases decades of work to build their coalitions. And I hate to have the incomplete conversation about sort of those structural politics.
I mean, I think what's interesting about all those states is right now, almost all of them have Democratic governors.
Right.
Which means they're going to let
in part
people
because
vote.
of the big lie. I mean, Katie Hobbs beats Carrie Lake.
That's right.
I mean, in Michigan, big lie and abortion, big time for Governor Gretchen Whitmer. Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro had to run against a MAGA, titan. I mean, if Trump's Godzilla, he's like Godzilla's son. I mean, these things have been tested by voters, and they said, thank you, no.
Right, but even Kansas. I mean, you've seen a swing
and North
back.
Carolina.
But first comes New Hampshire. And New Hampshire's got Democrats are 28%, Republicans are 30%, unaffiliated independents are 41%.
Wow.
That's what it looks like in New Hampshire. So that's the strategy here for Christie. And it might not be for this election. It might be for 4 years from now. It might be from 8 years from now, as this group of people like he and Liz Cheney and others try to take back the Republican Party or create something new. I think we've got to take a longer view and recognize, in my view right now, that the general for the Republicans, if Trump is the nominee, is a wash. And they're fighting to see who will be standing when he's gone and what that looks like. And in many ways, New Hampshire is the future, where the biggest percentage is independent. It's not a Democratic base.
In the handling or what happened or the sort of chain of custody of classified material while Trump was president may be connected?
I don't think the game is working anymore, right? The game that Trump's been playing, the game Giuliani's been playing, the game all these guys have been playing for years is not working anymore. It's hitting all the guardrails. It's hitting the common sense factor. I mean, it's still working with a very deep base, but that base is even getting smaller.
Right.
So
narrower, but
the circles are closing in. With every indictment, with every new news cycle, the circle gets smaller and the tactics stay the same. And I think, a couple years ago, I started saying that we wouldn't really get our world standing back until Trump did a perp walk, until he was in bracelets, until he was in jail. That would be the only time America would fully get our respect back in the world. People used to say I was crazy. We can see that now. He's got a mugshot. He's got 4 indictments. He may actually be held accountable. So I think we've got to think about that and how this is playing out on a global stage where our kids are watching, and this game is not working anymore. They're being revealed, and never underestimate Trump's sloppiness and incompetence, which is, I think, really the most underreported part of this. He's just a mess. So it's totally possible that he did all this stuff just because he's sloppy, careless, and messy.